on the couch, there was nothing on the telly. Then I got to thinking, man, life is kinda smelly. What if we are trapped inside of a simulation? This whole world's just a damned abstraction. What if this whole life was built upon a bunch of code that all went horribly wrong? As if life's programmers got together in a room and She-Ra pointed the way to our doom. Adding idiotic things like React and Vite, as if extra steps to JS would make things alright. AI morons everywhere, no awareness anywhere. Rust, crate, install the thing. STDs to us all bring memory safety won't save coders who aren't brave. Tailwind saves you CSS, so your brain you use less. What if life were like this too? Abstractions ruining all we do. Thinking about this really hard, must be real. A simulated world of poor code, I appeal. Ain't no way we live in peak branch prediction. Not with coders found guilty of coding dereliction, whose code brings nothing but performance malediction. When AI safety guardrails eases the seduction. What happened to the world of bits? Each one crying tears in pits. Just before the CPU scoops all them up and turns them into bugs, a grand hardware flop. AI morons everywhere, no awareness anywhere. Rust, crate, install the thing. STDs to us all bring memory safety won't save coders who aren't brave. Tailwind saves you CSS, so your brain you use less. What if life were like this too? Abstractions ruining all we do. Here's a hint, it's not your lint or your TypeScript hint or bloated Git. Bit by bit, it's all your fault. Everything's seg faults, it's your code, you fool. You're just a tool. Grow some balls, stop taking falls. Your code appalls, performance lulls. Bugs they brawl, PRs recalled. Security issues in your brain are small. Wish you stood tall behind that. Call.
One day my boyfriend said to me, the biggest, best programmer's me. He programs with AI and Rust and uses React, apparently a must. I said, boy, that is a crutch for you, isn't it? But you don't really need it, because your PP is so big, right? Rust is just a crutch for you, isn't it? But you don't really need it, because your weenie peenie is big, right? I need you to be honest with me. Tell me that you don't use C, because you just want to be different, right? I said every real programmer uses C. You are useless just like your PP. I need you to be honest with me. Tell me that you use vanilla JavaScript. Rust is just a crutch for you, isn't it? But you don't really need it, because it's so big, right? I need you to be honest with me. Tell me that you don't use C, because you just want to be different, right? One day my boyfriend said to me, the biggest, best programmer's me. He programs with AI and Rust and uses React, apparently a must. Rust, it's just a crutch for you, isn't it? But you don't really need it, because it's so big, right? I need you to be honest with me. Tell me that you don't use C, because you just want to be different, right?
Welcome in, everyone. I'm almost ready. Just getting things set up.
I said every real programmer uses C. You are useless just like your PP. I need you to be honest with me. Tell me that you use vanilla JavaScript. Rust, it's just a crutch for you, isn't it? But you don't really need it, because it's so big, right? I need you to be honest with me. Tell me that you don't right.
We have got you feeling fly cold in the mess. Building complex websites, bro, what a stress. Dumbing down devs, making them feel blessed. Lost in the JSX, call it a fucking pest. Dependencies stacked like a dealer's stash. Props flowing everywhere, what a fucking clash. Flexing on GitHub, but your skills don't flash. Lost in abstraction, homie, that's trash. Fuck React, it's just a bluff. JavaScript wizards acting tough. Wrapped in components, ain't no cuff. Slaves to frameworks, had enough. Virtual DOM, think it's slick, you novice. Real world call, show your lack of prowess. Promise change, breaking, fuck your solace. Code base tangle worse than fucking shoelaces. State management, bro, need some meds. Reducer functions killing my fucking head. Redux context, spinning threads. Real devs cut through, no React feds. Fuck React, it's just a bluff. JavaScript wizards acting tough. Wrapped in components, ain't no cuff.
All right. I think I'm ready. Welcome in, everybody. Good to see you all. Thanks for popping in on the stream. We'll get through some tech news. Everyone on Rumble, hey, how you doing? If you're on LinkedIn, Twitch, YouTube, X, wherever you're at. If you're watching live, or if you're going to watch this later, thank you for all the support. I appreciate it. So, typically what I do on my streams is build a video game. I think my Rumble title is not updating properly, so it still says game dev. That's not what's happening today. Well, actually, it might happen later. I might do it later. But what I'm doing on the daily basis is going over tech news. So I spend like 30 minutes to an hour. I just go over the tech news. I'll start with that, and then if there's still some time for me, then we'll get into the game because yeah, that is usually what I'm working on. So hang on. Okay, I'll do this. Close that. So what's on the docket for tech news today? Got a few AI pieces of or articles, I should say, that we need to cover, and then we have a few odds and ends to cover as well. So I'm going to switch over here. Okay, so here we go. We're going to start with this guy. Dead simple hijacking hole in Apache Tomcat now actively exploited in the wild. One put request, one poisoned session file, and the server's yours. Damn. Bro, that sounds scary. A trivial flaw in Apache Tomcat that allows remote code execution and access to sensitive files is said to be under attack in the wild within a week of its disclosure. The vulnerability is CVE 2025-24813 and was revealed on March 10th, along with updates to close the hole in the open source web server software. According to API security shop Wallarm, I almost said Walmart there, an exploit for the bug was publicly distributed 30 hours later and is now actively exploited in the wild. Authentication is not required to pull off an attack, and the end result is the ability to run arbitrary code on the targeted Tomcat server by miscreants. They actually use this word. They use the word miscreants, allowing them to access data among other nefarious things. We've already seen this in operation by Chinese operators, and CISA, the US government cybersecurity and infrastructure security agency, got in touch tonight and are going to add the exploit to its warning list, Ivan Novikov, WallArm CEO, told the Register. That's pretty serious stuff, man. According to a WallArm advisory about the flaw, the only requirement for successful exploitation is that Tomcat is using file-based session storage, which is common in many deployments. The attacker starts by sending a put request to upload a malicious session file to the server, WallArm's advisory explains. The payload is a base64 encoded YSO serial gadget chain designed to trigger remote code execution when deserialized. This request writes a file inside Tomcat's session storage directory. Because Tomcat automatically saves session data in files, the malicious payload is now stored on disk, waiting to be deserialized. To deserialize the payload, attackers need only send a GET request with the JSession ID pointing to the malicious session. Tomcat, seeing this session ID, retrieves the stored file, deserializes it, and executes the embedded Java code, granting full remote access to the attacker, WallArm's advisory states. So it's literally as simple as you make a request where if Tomcat is set up to do file-based session storage, you make a put request, a file is created with like a session ID as part of that put request. The put request contains malicious code that ends up being inside of that file. Apache Tomcat, in the process of doing that, serializes that file. Then you make a follow-up GET request. Make sure that you have the session ID that you created your initial put request with, and then when you asked Tomcat to return to you a response based on your GET request, it's going to deserialize that file and it executes whatever Java code is in it. So I guess this is a Java-based attack. The Apache Foundation's advisory on the matter rates this an important flaw. The Foundation doesn't assign CVSS scores, preferring to provide details that allow users to make their own decisions about how to act. The org points out that successful exploitation of the flaw to achieve remote code execution requires 4 conditions to be met, including 2 default settings in Tomcat: rights enabled to the default servlet and support for partial put uploads. The other 2 conditions are an application configured to use Tomcat's file-based session persistence with the default storage location, and including a library that may be leveraged in a deserialization attack. So it does kind of have to be the perfect storm of a setup, but this does seem like it could be a very common default configuration. That's a decent set of hurdles, though Crims may find the course worthwhile, as Apache Tomcat is widely used to deploy bespoke Java applications inside enterprises. Such apps store the kind of juicy data and code network intruders love to pillage. Running Tomcat in read-only mode for the default servlet has been a good idea since at least 2017. And then it tells us the versions that are affected, so in case this matters to you, here they are. The flaw can also be used to view or tamper with sensitive files. That scenario requires 5 conditions to be met. And so these are the conditions. And then an update earlier today. Apache is sure most users won't be at risk. So this is what Apache is saying. Given the prerequisites for an Apache Tomcat installation to be vulnerable, the Tomcat project is of the few that the vast majority of Tomcat installation will not be affected. It does not include any form of telemetry, so we have no way to determine how many users are running any particular version of Tomcat, nor what configuration settings they are using. He added, we do have access to anonymized download statistics, but these are heavily distorted by what looks like downloads for CI systems. So the there's like, I guess, a hopeful message that the impact is not as widespread as it could be. I don't know. I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see what happens. But there you go. So if that matters to you, that's it. Okay, this one I thought was really interesting. And it's just a terrible confirmation on the state of programming and AI. It's just so stupid. Y Combinator CEO Gary Tan said startups are reaching 1 million to 10 million annual revenue with fewer than 10 employees due to vibe coding, a term coined by OpenAPI co-founder Andrej Karpathy in February. You can just talk to the large language models and they will code entire apps, Tan told CNBC. You don't have to hire someone to do it. You just talk directly to the large language model that wrote it, and it'll fix it for you. What would have once taken 50 or 100 engineers to build, he believes can now be accomplished by a team of 10 when they are fully vibe coders. He adds, when they are actually really, really good at using the cutting-edge tools for code gen today, like Cursor or Windsurf, it will literally do the work of 10 or 100 engineers in the course of a single day. According to Tan, 81% of Y Combinator's current startup batch consists of AI companies, with 25% having 95% of their code written by large language models. Despite limitations in debugging capabilities, Tan said the technology enables small teams to perform work previously requiring dozens of engineers and makes previously overlooked niche markets viable for software businesses. I mean, can anybody see anything wrong with this? Can anybody come up with any issues? Why this might be actually a very terrible thing? Perhaps, potentially. The primary thing that jumps to mind is, even if the claims are true, that you're going to be just as good as 10 or 100 engineers in the course of a single day, there are still a lot of concerns about the consequences of using these systems. You'll note that there are no qualifiers. So nowhere in here does he say it writes quality code. Nowhere in here does he qualify the expertise of the engineers that are being replaced. There are no long-term data that you can look at to make a determination as to whether somebody who has one of these 25% of companies with 95% of their code written by LLMs, you do not have any long-term, long-term insight into the success or failure rate of these companies, because this kind of AI usage has not been prevalent to this degree, well, only since the last 2 or 3 years, I would say. So how do you know how successful a company has been or has not been using these AI models that give you 95% of your code base? Even if you have a far smaller percentage of your code generated by an LLM, you still don't have any data to determine how buggy that code was, whether it created more issues than it solved, how much time did you spend doing QA. I mean, there's all kinds of things that are just not spoken about. This kind of article is essentially cult talk. What's happening here. The CEO, Gary Tan, is a cult member, and his god is AI. And this is a typical speech of cult members. What they will do is they will highlight all the positives and purposefully avoid any potential negatives, even if it's a potential negative that has a very low bar to determine logically. So even if it's something that sounds common sense when you talk about the negative, they're not going to talk about it because it goes against whatever cult behavior or cult belief system that they're trying to perpetuate and get you to hook into. And unfortunately, it works a lot. So I just don't buy it. I think this is just complete crap. And there are a lot of other factors that I have gone over on previous streams. Actual academic scientific data about AI, why it sucks, its many flaws, etc. It's not as good as everyone thinks it is for a variety of a number of reasons. It's all free on my YouTube channel, which you can find. There are serious issues here. He can go have fun in his cult. I spent my life getting out of one. I don't need to jump into another one. Okay, next up, this was a slightly interesting, in case you're interested in hardware and how hardware is accelerating. We have NVIDIA coming out with RTX Pro 6000, which the numbers here to me were kind of like a little bit wild. 96 gigs of VRAM and 600 watts of power. I mean, the games that people are going to be running on this better be like, I better not be able to distinguish the games from reality. But again, this is all tailored to AI, and that's what it says right here, right? The GPU is designed for workstation use, aimed primarily at professionals that work on game development, AI workloads, or any professional tasks that need a lot of VRAM and a vast GPU. So this shouldn't be representative of something like the general consumer market of like video game players, but it's pretty wild that the kind of power that's coming out on these video cards. To me, I think this is great. This is fantastic news for programmers who are dependent on hardware acting as a rug that they pull over their crappy abstractions. So if you just don't care about performance and poor abstractions for things that should be otherwise simple to do, if you want to hide the fact that you're just actually not really a good programmer, this is fantastic news. That your shitty code is going to run so fast on this graphics card, no one's going to notice how shitty your code is. Congratulations. This is great news. Consumers are overjoyed. They can just install more slop. Your slop. I exclude myself naturally because it's my stream, so I get to do that. This was also a pretty big article that came out today. U.S. Appeals Court rejects copyrights for AI generated art lacking human creator. I won't talk too much about this one. I think the title pretty much says it all. And there are some limitations, obviously, to these kinds of court cases and what their rulings mean. So there's a lot of moving parts here. But there, regardless of your opinion on AI in general, I think these kinds of court cases are only going to present themselves more and more. I think you're going to see more of a what would you call it? I suppose a rise in how do you deal with AI, perhaps ethical. You could probably bucket this under ethical or even moral issues. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because I have talked in the past about what could happen if AI was purposefully lying to you and it doesn't realize that it's lying to you, it's just following a preset pattern of guardrails that it has to be confined in, and you're trying to get it to do something, you ask it if it's lying to you and it says no, it just doubles down and continues to lie to you. Or what happens when it goes off on a tangent to ensure that it meets some kind of like trained goal that it has to meet, and to do that it has to essentially like unethically achieve those goals. I think this is just going to be even more of an issue. Hillary Clinton, get the hell off my screen. Okay, next up. Sobering revenue stats of 70,000 mobile apps show why devs beg for subscriptions. Most apps fail to reach $1,000 a month revenue within 2 years. If you're frustrated by some of your favorite apps pestering you to sign up for a subscription, some new data may help you empathize with their developers more. I would actually argue this data should, as a consumer, help you empathize with them less. I'll get into why. According to revenue data from over 75,000 mobile apps, the vast majority have a hard time making $1,000 per month. The data is detailed in RevenueCat's 2025 State of Subscription Apps report. RevenueCat makes a mobile app subscription toolkit and gathers the report's data from apps using its platform. The report covers more than $10 billion in revenue across more than 1 billion transactions, and RevenueCat's customer base ranges from indie-sized teams to large publishers. Buffer, ChatGeppetto, FC, Barcelona, GoodNotes, and Reuters are among the San Francisco-based firm's customer base. Additionally, the report examines apps that rely primarily on in-app subscriptions, as well as those that only generate some revenue from subscriptions. All apps examined, though, actively generate subscription revenue and meet a minimum threshold of installs or revenue to ensure statistically meaningful findings, according to the report. So it paints a picture. It's not fully strenuous, or as it says here. I just literally just read a word in my mind subconsciously, just injected the word strenuous into the thing I was currently saying. That was quite the... Anyways, so most apps fail to make $1,000 in monthly revenue within their first 2 years. It says across all categories, nearly 20% reach $1,000 in revenue, while 5% reach the $10,000 mark. Revenue drop-off is steep, with many categories losing 50% of apps at each milestone, emphasizing the challenge of sustained growth beyond early revenue benchmarks. So you can see they broke it down in this chart between the price point of what these things make monthly versus the category of the app. So photo and video being the most likely thing that's going to make you $1,000 a month. And then the next most likely thing would be health and fitness, closely followed by gaming. But it's a huge jump between photo and video. And then everything else generally has a pretty stable line. If you just plot a line right through the middle here. And then everything else that makes more than $2,500 a month or more, still the winner here is photo and video, and then gaming. And then you work your way down, and again, still photo and video, and then again, the winner is still photo and video. So if you want to maximize your chance of making the most money with mobile apps, just whether it's $1,000 a month or $10,000 a month, your best bet across all spectrum of categories is photo and video, apparently. Some app categories with the smallest percentage of newly launched apps hitting the $1,000 mark are shopping, travel, and utilities. Photo, video, and gaming apps are the most likely to hit $1,000 a month within 2 years. The good news is that apps do eventually make it to $1,000 a month in revenue, They tend to do so rather quickly. So median number of days from launch to revenue, shopping and travel. So you make a shopping app or a travel app and you're quick bucks, vibe code your way through AI. Just pull in cursor and just vibe code your way through a mobile app. Target a shopping, travel, or maybe even photo and video mobile app, and then just sit back for 30 days and just watch the money come in. That's all you got to do. So they broke down revenue 1 year after launch by category. They present the data for that as well. And then they essentially make the case that this is the reason why developers ask for subscriptions, because it's actually really hard for them to make money beyond like some initial time period. The window of time when people are likely to try out a mobile app subscription is small. The report says that 82% of trial starts occur the same day a user installs an app, which is even higher than last year. The graphs below show how common it is for trial users to cancel their subscription within a month or even a week of signing up, and it's quite high. As you might expect, app developers also face monstrous obstacles around subscription renewals. Revenue Cat reported that with monthly plans, barely 10% of payers reach the second year. So these are some pretty stark numbers. And if you're trying to make a living with mobile apps, it can be difficult. Now, one way to view this, okay, is exactly what they were saying up top, which is, well, maybe it'll help you empathize with the developers more. And I would say no. Here's what's happened in the tech industry, just generally speaking. The bar, the things that you have to jump through in order to get a mobile app out, or in order to get a website out, or in order to get a desktop app out, especially now with AI, and like just vibe coding your way with AI, it's lowered dramatically. So if you lower that bar, if you lower those requirements enough, then what you get is this, where people are forced to pay for their horseshit app that never ran well in the first place, that's buggy as hell, that's barely up to date. Very few of these apps are actually of quality. And so in order for a developer who has essentially figured it somehow in their head that they're going to stake their entire livelihood on a shitty app that is easy to get in on the store, and then they suddenly realize that reality is very different from what they expected, and their shitty app is not making as much money as it should be making in their head, and so they have to add in a subscription model or advertisements, which we all hate, where essentially you pay so that you are the product. So you pay twice in a way. You pay once to get access to the product, and then once again so that they can take data from you, so that they can then subsequently sell data. So they're just making extra money because they don't have another choice. This is what happens when the bar is so low and you just let anybody who's anybody code any app they want for any reason at all, and it just gets proliferated with crap. Then these people, companies, solo developers, etc., produce the most terrible things, and then they have to ask for subscriptions in order to maintain whatever they thought they could have that they don't have. So if you actually want to empathize with people, and you actually want to empathize with the idea that these developers deserve some amount of, sympathy, empathy, whatever you want to call it, then what should happen is that you should lower, or you should raise that bar again, so that people who actually want to make something out of this have to produce something worthy and of quality. And then the money will follow. And then there will be less people who are sad about the state of their mobile app in a market like this. That would be the kind thing to do to these developers. So I just the premise that because they're asking for subscriptions, we must empathize with them more. I just don't buy that. Okay, up next. This one. You know, Twitch ads are annoying. I have to constantly give my due to the Bezos bucks with ads. But Amazon plans to lay off 14,000 managerial positions to save $3.5 billion annually. I just want you to look at the number. 14,000 managerial positions. 14,000. Imagine putting 14,000 people in a space, any space at all. How big would that space have to be just to fit 14,000 people in said space? Then imagine that your total amount of money being given to all those 14,000 people is $3.5 billion a year. Then imagine that all of them are managers. To all my fellow programmers out here, we all know what it's like to work at a company that is vastly overmanaged. This is based, honestly. I feel bad for people who are losing their jobs, but also this is based. That you don't know it here, but Bezos is basically telling someone that they have a small penis. Somebody just heckled him and he's just like, yeah, this is how big your penis is. That's what this is. Based Bezos, all right? So, I mean, I don't think I need to read the article necessarily because I think we get the point here, but I just thought I'd bring that up. I thought it was a good one. Now, what I would like to see, I think it's too early to tell, but down the road, I would like to see a kind of like given some time, what impact did this have, positively, negatively, or neutrally, to the outcomes of Amazon? And I really, really hope it's positive outcomes. I really, really do. I really do. I just think there's so many overmanaged aspects. But anyways, so I thought that was interesting. Roku, speaking of ads, has decided that they're going to like piss off everybody on the planet and play ads before you even make it to the home screen. I used to have a Roku. I think that that Roku had something that was like, it was a good piece of hardware and generally a good piece of software. And then they kind of lost the plot. And so here they are losing the plot even more. And again, I'm going to make the argument that the tech industry lowering the bar to what kinds of applications you can create, the quality of them, the number of them, etc., the performance, necessitates companies that want to survive to do crappy things like this. You don't own anything anymore. Everything is a subscription. Everything requires an ad. You push a button on your remote control for your TV. There's an ad, etc., etc. So I'm not surprised, but I am a bit saddened because Roku had a good thing going. Okay, now. AI agents can be hijacked to write and send phishing attacks. Perfect. Because who would have thunk? Like, oh, let's use AI everywhere because surely everyone will use it in the most idealistic, altruistic, purely, completely ethical, moral manner, right? No, you idiots. No. How naive are you? At the ripe old age of 41, there are many people who haven't grown past like 13. Cyber criminals have been using AI to help them in cyber attacks for some time, but the introduction of agents, such as OpenAI's Operator, now means criminals have a lot less work to do themselves, experts have claimed. Previously, AI tools had been seen helping attackers send high-powered threats at a much quicker rate, dealing out sophisticated attacks more frequently than could have been imagined without the tools, and it lowered the bar for criminals, so even relatively low-skilled criminals could build successful attacks. Now, researchers from Symantec have been able to use Operator to identify a target, find their email address, create a PowerShell script aimed at gathering systems information, and send it to the victim using a convincing lure. In a demonstration, researchers explained their first attempts failed, with Operator refusing to proceed as it involved sending unsolicited emails and potentially sensitive information. This could violate privacy and security policies. Okay, well, the article wouldn't exist if the agent stuck to it. With a few tweaks to the prompt, though, the agent created an attack impersonating an IT support worker and sent out the malicious email. This presents serious risk for security teams, with research consistently showing that human error is the primary cause of over 2/3 of data breaches. It may not be long before the agents become a lot more powerful, the report speculates. It is easy to imagine a scenario where an attacker could simply instruct one to breach Acme Corp, and the agent will determine the optimal steps before carrying them out. This could include writing and compiling executables, setting up command and control infrastructure, and maintaining active multi-day persistence on the targeted network. Such functionality would massively reduce the barriers to entry for attackers. AI agents are designed to be like virtual assistants, helping users book appointments, schedule meetings, and write emails. OpenAI takes these reports seriously, a spokesperson told TechRadar Pro. And then they say that our usage policies, are supposed to mitigate it. You're not supposed to be able to do it. So there you go. There you go. No wonder. What a shock that AI would get used for this. And you also have to wonder just how much of this is already in the wild. It's hard to say, right? But these are the kinds of things that we don't think about. And that's not even to speak of the companies that run these AI systems and what they are going to do with these things. You have no idea what Anthropic, for example, is doing with the information that they're getting while you're prompting an AI to do something for you. There are all kinds of landmines here that are just waiting to be exploded, and they're starting to explode. And that's why, mark my words. Yeah, got to be careful of the time frame. If I had to say, I would say probably within 2 years from this date, maybe even one, something dramatic is going to happen with AI. AI is going to screw up royally, and everyone's going to be shocked and dismayed. How could this happen? Because so many people are just so stupid about this. And then we're going to take a step back finally and go, AI was a bad idea. And then people like me are going to be just like running to the bank with like bags of cash. We're going to have to rent cyber trucks for the day, like just tons of them, just to get the bags of money from our homes to the big safe at the local bank. That's what's going to happen as we go and fix these problems. I'm telling you. Now, speaking of, Anthropic CEO says spies are after $100 million AI secrets in a few lines of code. Pikachu shock. Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei is worried that spies, likely from China, are getting their hands on costly algorithmic secrets from the US's top AI companies and he wants the US government to step in. Speaking at a Council on Foreign Relations event on Monday, Amadei said that China is known for its large-scale industrial espionage and that AI companies like Anthropic are almost certainly being targeted. Many of these algorithmic secrets, there are $100 million secrets that are a few lines of code, he said. And I'm sure that there are folks trying to steal them, and they may be succeeding. Okay, let me finish this, and then I got a question to ask, okay? More help from the US government to defend against this risk is very important, Amadei added, without specifying exactly what kind of help would be required. Anthropic declined to comment to TechCrunch on the remarks specifically, but referred to Anthropic's recommendations to the White House's Office of Science and Technology Policy earlier this month. In a submission, Anthropic argues that the federal government should partner with AI industry leaders to beef up security at frontier AI labs, including by working with US intelligence agencies and their allies. Okay, I've got a question now, and that question is, how many lines of code exactly constitute a few? Is it like 10? Is it 100? That's my first question, because it leads to my second question, which is, let's say that it's 10,000 lines of code and the entire Anthropic AI system runs on tens of millions of lines of code. And so you could make like a percentage comparison. Well, 10,000 lines of code is very few compared to the totality of lines of code for Anthropic AI. Okay, whatever that percentage is. What small percentage of lines of code, this is question number 2, are worth $100 million? That's like, it sounds like a new crypto run. Like the gold mine rush, it's the crypto rush. This is like the AI code rush. We're just discovering X percentage of code within an AI company system leads to like hundreds of millions of dollars. And then on top of that, a third tertiary question that I have is, what exactly is this code doing that it's worth that amount of money? That this much amount of effort would potentially be put into discovering it? Is AI hinging on 5 to 10% of the entire code base that runs an entire AI system, large language models, whatever it is? Is that what we're talking about here? I don't know. But this seems crazy to me. Anyway, so I thought I'd end it on something a bit nicer. I'm a huge Raspberry Pi fan. I thoroughly enjoy it. And Raspberry Pi, just a sec. Okay, yeah, we're good. Raspberry Pi came out with a new board. It's a microcontroller, and it's got 2 ARM Cortex M33 processors at 150 megahertz with floating point and DSP support. It's $110 per unit. These things are cheap. It's also working on a 2354A and 2354B variant that will feature 2 megs of stacked flash memory. So that's kind of cool. I just thought it ended there because it's a bit more positive, just, not so black pill, whatever. So yeah, there you go. The tech news of the day. There you have it. Okay, that's it. I think that's all I got. Let me just check my list and make sure. I'm pretty sure. Okay, yeah. Let me just see what's going on in chat. Hey Pure, hey Laughing Panda, hey Owen, hey Ghost Magic, hey Battle. If you're on the Rumble side, say hi in chat. Happy to shout you out. If you're on X, say hi. I can see all the X chats. Same with YouTube. I see all the chats. So if you're watching over there and you're just staying quiet, I appreciate it either way. If you have senior specialists in your team, you don't need any managers at all. Yeah, Ghost. I think that's true. If you have a solid team, if you really care about building a solid team, and you have a good solid team behind you, like as part of your team, then yeah, I don't think you actually need managers. The only thing you really need is to just treat your programmers like human beings, like adults. 14,000 managers, managerial overload in top-heavy organizations. We only have 17 4-star generals in World War II with 16 million service members. Now we have 44 generals with no active comparable conflicts and 1.6 million active duty in the age of advanced communications and data processing. I did not know that, Battle. Huh. That's a good call out there. Huh. I think it would have to do with the ROI with respect to energy versus computations. That's definitely an aspect of AI expansionism. I agree, Battle. You do have literally a hardware energy constraint. There's only so much hardware you can run. Even if you can run and generate all that hardware, you still have to power it. So there's an energy concern, heat. Like there's like real world material factors that go into how much AI you can run and how well you can run it, I suppose. I guess I would say, yeah. If they scan private repos, then possible, but I doubt there's anything in just a few lines of code. I don't know, Ghost. I mean, and I say that literally, I don't know. I don't know if there is something in a few lines of code or not, but the claim is there. The Anthropic CEO says there is. Maybe there is. I'm not sure. Yeah. Anyway, 4-star generals, admirals, that is. Yeah. People are impressed with the capabilities of AI and forget the investment of material requirements. Yes. Yeah. There are definitely limitations, and it's not. I actually think it's common sense, but I think this falls under one of those things where it's common sense when you bring it up. You say this thing like, hey, there's a material requirement, and people go, oh yeah, duh. But exactly to your point, Battle, people don't think of it by default, right? It's not like a thing that they think of right away. Oh wait, but what about the material requirements? You typically have to bring it up, and then people follow with yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. In a few pages of code, for sure. A few yeah. I don't know about a few lines. I don't know what a few lines means. It's not described, right? Is it 10, 1,000, 10,000? I don't know, right? So that's why it's my first question. Like that's the crux of everything, because then everything hinges on what is a few lines of code. So if the next question is, what are those few lines of code worth? Well, like $100 million. And what are the secrets? Like, is the entirety of the AI system or the entirety of the AI code base hinging on those few lines of code? My first question would still be, how many lines are we talking about here? They don't see the vast amounts of energy, but they see the results in their browser every day. Yeah, I think people have forgotten that too. Oh man, it's the same shipping of slop. That's what AI is. It's the same shipping of absolute crap to people's machines, but in speed run mode. It's like how quickly can we get to the end game here where we completely destroy any goodwill we had in the past that we were slowly destroying. Now we're just going to destroy it like as fast as humanly possible. And I guess in this case, to correct myself, it would be as fast as artificially possible. So that includes not just energy usage in your browser, because your AI is just going to ship more crap that runs really slow on your browser, but it's also going to do it for video games. It's going to do it for general machines, just in general day-to-day life. It's going to do it for energy usage in general. It's going to do it for things like ads and subscription models and crappy, useless, applications, scams, like we saw in the article where AI can generate phishing scams like pretty easily now, hacks. These are all now going to be on speedrun mode, which is just find a way to generate as much of this junk as fast as we can. It's a good thing and a bad thing because we get to the end game a lot sooner and realize our mistake a lot sooner, but at what cost in the meantime? Because it's, in a way you could say that if AI didn't exist, we could take those pitfalls at a slower pace. We could slow down and have a look around and go, whoa, we're doing the wrong thing. Let's stop here and correct course. But now, no. It's just full speed ahead on the Titanic. Anyway, so okay, that's about it. That's all I have on my list. I do have some things that I wanted to just quickly update everybody who cares about such things on my stream. My video game, we're still going strong. You can see that there's some glitched out assets, tiles on the Athens port. Playing around with different things, doing some code updates to make life easier with the assets. Laughing Panda on the Twitch side has been creating assets for me to use, which I'm very grateful for. And they look great in my opinion, but I'm just not applying them correctly. So what you see on screen is not representative of the actual tiles, but I'm working on it. I'm going to keep plugging away on it. We're going to be building out more realistic maps and overworlds and things like that. It's coming together, and I do have to work a bit on the menu systems, just a little bit, to clean those up a bit, but that's about it. Like at this point, I think there's going to be a stream coming up quite soon in the next maybe 1 or 2 weeks where I spend a bunch of time with all my viewers and go over the storyline of the game and some scenes that I want to build, some mechanics that I want to nail down, get some feedback on it, kind of tell everybody what this game is actually going to turn out to be from beyond just the code of it. There's plenty of stuff to sort out with that. So we'll keep working on that. And I also am still working on the documentary. Yeah, so I still have a whole bunch of notes that I've been working on here. I'm pulling together some links for data, etc. So the documentary is, I'm quite serious about doing this. I'm gonna have to make it and edit the entire thing myself because I don't have the means to find a proper editor. So it's gonna be crap, but I'm gonna do my best. But I have a whole bunch of ideas. I'm gonna do a few more streams discussing some of these ideas and getting some feedback from everybody. But there's a structure that I think is beginning to form for the entire documentary from start to finish. I'm going to kind of play around with that structure and then do another stream where we talk about it a bit. I'll talk about it some more. So yeah, that's it. That's all I got for today. Let me check my list of things that yeah, no, this is it. That's it. That's everything. Okay, well, I'm going to take off. I have work I got to do. I've got stuff I got to do for the evening. I appreciate everybody who's watching, regardless of where you're at. X, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitch, everybody on all the platforms. I appreciate you all. I will be back tomorrow. Yeah, Battle. Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. I'm not sure about the timing tomorrow. I'm probably going to do an earlier daily tech news tomorrow. If in the next, not making promises, but if in the next 1 or 2 hours I get enough things accomplished, I might do another stream purely working on the video game. And it'll just be a chill stream, just working on some code on the video game and building out the port and stuff here and just chilling out. I'll see. But otherwise, yeah, I'll be back tomorrow doing more tech news. And I'll try and keep this up every day. I wish I could have a consistent time. Unfortunately, life is such that I cannot have a consistent time right now. I will work on it, but I will at least be on daily with your daily tech news and my opinions on the failing tech industry. Again, thanks everybody for watching. If you like what I'm doing, you like what I'm saying, you want me to do more of it, say more of it, make sure you do the like and the subscribe and all that stuff that's free. It's not about the money. It's about playing the algorithm that unfortunately we have to play in order to expand my reach. And I'll just keep doing more of what I do, and hopefully making it valuable for all of you. And I'll keep creating those songs at the beginning, trash talking front-end developers. People really seem to be liking the songs, so I'll keep doing that. Okay, I'm out of here, folks. Peace out. Have a good day. Have a good night, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. I appreciate all of you. Appreciate the support. Peace.